In today's video, I'm going to be breaking down 5 different baseline inbounds plays that seem to work extremely well at the AAU level. So let's get down and let's check this out. So we're going to have player 4 inbounding the ball. We're going to have at that point player 5, our tallest player at the bottom. We're going to have 2 guards or forwards or whatever. And then we're going to have our best shooter out here. If we're playing up against a man-to-man defense, this is a fantastic option. Player 1 can choose to sprint between these 2 players or between those 2 players. If he decides to go between these 2, they need to close in on that player. Player 1 is going to be then wide open. If he is wide open, of course, pass him the ball, and he's going to take that 3-point shot. If he's not open, let's say he's been defended, his man got through. Player 5 is going to be posting up. Player 3 is going to be sprinting down towards that right block. He could have a layup. Or player 2 is going to be popping out as safety for that long pass. I find against a 2-3 zone, they tend to stay pretty tight. These 2 players could close, but what I would like to see is for player 2 to set the screen on player 3 and for 3 to set a screen on 2. And then player 1 will then pop out, potentially for that 3. Player 5 would then also be posting up here as well, and after that screen, player 3 blue would then cut to the basket. However, against a man, if player 1 was to go between players 2 and 5, those 2 players will close, and then he may be open for that 3. However, if he's not open, player 5 will be the one who then pops out to this side as a potential safety. Player 3 will cut to this side, and player 2 will then also be a safety. It's up to him, pops up or pops down, depending on what his defender is doing. Now this one's an interesting play, and it works pretty well, but what we're going to be looking to do here is have player 3 is going to set a screen for player 5, and player 1 is going to set a screen for player 2. Player 2 is going to use that screen, player 5 is going to use that screen. They're both going to be cutting player 5 down the middle, player 2 towards the sideline, and one of these 2 players should be open for the shot. If they're not open, of course, player 5 should be looking for the layup, player 2 should be looking for the 3. If they're not open, their man got through, then at that point they need to clear out, and player 1 needs to get open, player 3 needs to get open. Now in this third play, again against a man-to-man defense, we're going to have player 5 getting a screen by player 2, and player 1 screening for player 4. Both of these players are going to be cutting down the sides of the keys, and it just comes down to whichever one is open for player 3 to pass to. If they're not open, player 1 is going to be then popping up towards the point, player 2 is going to be cutting down towards the corner, and one of those guys better be open as safeties. Now in this play, it does work pretty well against a zone, but you have to change things up just a bit. So what you would be looking at here is player 2 setting the screen for player 3. Player 5 would then pop down towards the corner, and player 1 will set a screen on player 4, and player 4 would then cut towards the key. Now, of course, this player may not be a center. You may be needing that player to be a 3-point shooter, but if your center is a 3-point shooter, that works as well. And you would be looking at either a 3-point shot here or potentially a layup here. Now, this is a great play against a 2-3 zone. So if you find that you're going up against a team that runs a 2-3 off of a baseline inbounds, and that's actually a strategy that my high school used when I was a player, which was any time that there was a baseline inbounds, we would go into a 2-3 zone, we would cover the paint, and there would be nothing in the paint available. And what we can do here with this play is this. We have player 2 set a screen on player 4. Player 5 can then cut towards the key. I would prefer baseline. And then player 1 can set a screen out for player 4. Now this puts player 5, red, in a tight situation. The situation being is, who is he going to guard, 4 or 5? And if player 3 fakes a pass this way, and then could get player 4 a layup. So there's a couple of different options here, and it really puts player 5, the middle defender, in a scary situation. Really quickly, if you want a fantastic zone to run against a baseline inbounds, it's the Unbeatable Basketball Zone Defense book that is down in the description below. That's going to double the low post and traps the corners, but it doesn't leave anybody open. Everyone's at least in single coverage, or they're being trapped or double teamed. I really like this last play too, and what we're going to do is we're going to have player 1 loop around and set a screen on player 3. Player 2 is then going to cut down to this side. At the same time, we're going to have player 4 cut across this key and player 5 cut down. This gives player 3 three different options. The number one option being player 2 for the three-point shot. This is going to be open most of the time. So really quickly, if you want to be able to defend baseline inbounds better, make sure to go check out the Unbeatable Basketball Zone Defense book down in the description below. And I'll see you guys again next time. Hit that like button, subscribe, and I hope that you've enjoyed. I hope that your team wins more games.